You were never asked if you wanted the job. There was no interview, no contract, no warning. One day, you were simply the eldest. And from that moment on, your childhood quietly ended. While your siblings were allowed to be children, you were being trained, without a single word spoken aloud, to be a second parent, a protector, a peacekeeper, a shadow adult wearing a child's body. And here's the part that will break your heart. You probably still don't know what happened to you. Think about your childhood dinner table. While your younger siblings argued over cartoons, you were reading the room, watching your mother's jaw tighten, noticing your father's silence before he even raised his voice. You weren't paranoid. You were trained. Somewhere along the way, you became the emotional thermostat of your entire household. If tension rose, it was your job to lower it. If a sibling cried, it was your job to comfort them, even if you were the one who needed comforting. You learned to read a room before you learned to read a book. But here is the dark truth most people miss. This wasn't parenting. It was outsourcing. Your parents, whether from stress, exhaustion, their own unhealed trauma, or simple overwhelm, handed pieces of their adult responsibility to a child who could not legally cross the street alone. And you didn't resist. Why would you? Resisting felt like betrayal. So instead, you adapted. You became hyper-competent, hyper-responsible, the easy child, the mature one, the one who never causes problems. That praise felt good. It also became a cage. Fast forward to today, you're an adult now, but the pattern never left. You're the friend who always checks in first, but rarely lets anyone check in on you. The employee who takes on the extra project because it's just easier if I do it. The partner who apologizes for needing anything at all. You call it responsibility. Your nervous system calls it survival. And this is where it gets even more complicated, because this isn't just a personality trait. This is a nervous system that was rewired in childhood to associate your own safety with everyone else's comfort. To understand why your brain does this, we have to look deeper. Psychologists have a name for what happened to you: parentification. It's when a child is placed, emotionally or practically, into a caregiving role that belongs to an adult. There are two kinds, and most eldest children experience both. Instrumental parentification is the visible kind: making meals, managing schedules, translating for parents, handling money, paperwork, logistics, adult tasks in child hands. Emotional parentification is the invisible kind, and the far more damaging one. It's becoming your parent's confidant, their therapist, their stabilizer, absorbing their stress, their sadness, their unspoken disappointment, and quietly deciding it was your job to fix it. Here's what neuroscience tells us about what this does to a developing brain. A child's nervous system is supposed to develop under the calm, regulated presence of an adult. That co-regulation is how children learn that the world is safe and that their emotions are manageable. But when a child is forced into the caregiver role too early, that process flips. Instead of being regulated, you are regulating others. Instead of learning, someone will take care of me, your brain learned, I am the one who takes care. This creates what therapists call hypervigilant attunement, a nervous system permanently scanning for other people's emotional needs before it even checks in with its own. This is why, as an adult, you can walk into a room and instantly sense who's upset before they say a word. It's not intuition. It's a trauma response dressed up as emotional intelligence. And it's also why rest feels dangerous to you. Because rest, to your nervous system, means someone might need you and you won't be ready. This leads us to the most dangerous phase. The one where this pattern stops looking like a wound and starts looking like an identity. Let's go back to where it began. In most cases, this isn't the story of cruel parents. It's the story of overwhelmed ones. A single mother working 2 jobs, a father drowning in his own unprocessed grief. Parents who were themselves eldest children once, repeating the only blueprint they ever knew. Family systems theorists describe this as the parentified inheritance. A pattern passed down like an heirloom nobody chose, but everybody carries. Your parent may have survived their childhood the exact same way you survived yours. And without meaning to, they place the same weight on you that once nearly broke them. This is not an excuse. It is an explanation. And understanding it is the first act of freeing yourself from it. But here is the dark truth most people miss about this stage of life. The eldest child doesn't just carry the burden in childhood. They build an entire adult identity around it. You became the reliable one. So being unreliable, even once, feels like collapse. You became the strong one. So vulnerability feels like danger. You became the fixer. So watching someone struggle without stepping in feels almost physically unbearable. This is the trap. Your trauma became your personality, and your personality became praised, promoted, relied upon. Which means unlearning it doesn't just feel hard. It feels like losing your entire sense of worth. There's a second trap hiding beneath the first: chronic self-abandonment. Because you were taught your value was in your usefulness. You learned to override your own needs automatically. So automatically that you may not even register when you're exhausted, resentful, or hurting. You perform fine. You are not fine. And so the eldest child grows into an adult who can identify everyone else's pain in a room within seconds, but struggles to answer a simple question: what do I actually need right now? That question terrifies you. Not because you don't have an answer, but because for the first time, someone is asking about you. Healing from this doesn't start with becoming less responsible. It starts with something far more radical: separating your worth from your usefulness. Here is the mindset shift that changes everything. You were not put on this earth to manage other people's emotions. You were a child who deserved to be managed, held, and protected. That role was stolen from you. It is not too late to reclaim it. Not from your family, but from yourself, for yourself. Here's where the healing actually begins. First, name it. You cannot dismantle a pattern you don't recognize. Say it plainly, even privately. I was parentified. My role in my family was not fair to a child. Naming it removes its disguise as just who I am. Second, practice the sentence eldest children rarely say. I can't take this on right now. Say it small. Say it once. Notice that the world does not end when you do. Third, grieve the childhood you didn't get. This is the step most people skip, and it's the most important one. You are allowed to mourn the version of you that never got to be carefree. That grief is not weakness. It is the beginning of self-compassion. Fourth, build relationships that don't require your usefulness to earn love. Notice who values you when you're not fixing anything. Those are the people worth keeping close. And finally, understand this. The world will always reward your overfunctioning. It will never ask you to stop, which means the permission to rest, to need things, to be imperfect. That permission has to come from you. You spent your childhood being the strength everyone leaned on. You are allowed now to be the one who gets to lean. You are allowed to need without earning it first. You are allowed to simply be a person, not a role, not a function, not the family's emotional backbone. The burden was never yours to carry alone. It's time to finally put it down. I am reclaiming my peace.